How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? And we're back with a very interesting topic today, and that is human cloning. For as long as we can possibly remember any sci fi movie or any movie about an evil villain looking exactly like the hero or the protagonist looking exactly like the antagonist, we've been exposed to the idea of human cloning. How two creatures can look exactly the same with little to nothing setting them apart. And this has been observed with twins, this has been observed in nature through multiple species across the spectrum, but never could we be in charge of scientifically, or in other words, artificially creating a clone. Up until, well, we figure it out. Now, another very important thing before we start the discussion about cloning and all of its diversities, we should understand one thing and one thing only, that the fact that human cloning has not been something that has been very much researched into due to primarily how dangerous it is, and also because how ineffective it is. You see, any and all innovation with general medicine, any and all innovation with modern technology in terms of biochemistry, in terms of the biological structure of the human body, in terms of being able to recreate the human body after it's been damaged severely, or help us battle diseases that we cannot contemplate, none of that ever requires us to clone a human being. You see, when you clone a human being, you're practically duplicating whatever genetic material that person or that organism is composed of. You are merely making a replica. You by no means are making a replica that is better in any shape or form. You're making an exact replica. The first ever mammal to ever be cloned was, of course, Dolly the sheep. But what we don't know is that when Dr. E.L. Winmont created Dolly the sheep in the year 1996, he used a form of cloning called reproductive cloning, which had 277 prior sheep, which unfortunately did not yield the results that Dr. Wilmot was seeking. So it was a success rate of 277 to 1. You see, cloning has a success rate of about only 10 to 20%. And Dolly the sheep was by no means the only mammal, or the only animal for that matter, to be cloned. We've got cloned animals like camels, we've got fish like carp, we've got cats, we've got cows, deer, dogs, ferrets, frogs, fruit flies, we've got goats, wolves. There are many, many, many animals that have been cloned since. But human cloning has always been a hot debate issue whenever it has come up. Human cloning requires a lot of eggs that need to be donated, as well as a lot of carriers. That means a lot of people that are willing to carry these eggs for the remainder of the pregnancy that is required. Finding such volunteers and finding these amount of eggs is no easy feat. And because there is no requirement, there is no funding. Hence why one of the slowest departments to ever make progress in medical history is cloning. Now, there's another type of cloning that is rather blooming in today's world, and that is the whole concept of stem cells, which comes under therapeutic cloning. Now, stem cells is just any cell that can create immense amount of success in terms of finding cures to new treatments, and also have huge successful numbers when it comes to repair as well as regeneration. Stem cells, if need be, can be reprogrammed as well, but we'll get to that a little later. You see, stem cells have a very, very thin margin to be created, and they are very limited in source. The best way to get stem cells is from a 3 to 5 day old embryo, which is practically not humane to even pursue. And another major question that comes into play when we look at even therapeutic stem cells research is the fact that stem cell research is still considered an individualized treatment other than a standardized treatment, which big pharma or big companies that are doing huge scale medical research would invest their money into. You see, individualized treatments have very selective people that go for them. People that, well, don't otherwise have an option. People that do their due diligence and can afford said treatments. Yes, success rates are through the roof when it comes to stem cell therapy. It helps you regenerate, it helps you, in a way, go back and reverse your symptoms of age by a lot. As a matter of fact, Mel Gibson, a very famous actor, his dad was wheelchair bound at the age of 93. At the age of 94, Mel Gibson took his dad for a few stem cell therapy sessions. And at the age of 97, Mel Gibson's dad ran a marathon. That, if nothing else, contributes to the success story that is stem cell therapy. Now, induced pluripotent stem cells are multi-purpose and they need not be extracted from a 3 to 7 day old embryo. As a matter of fact, these are adult cells that are merely reprogrammed and they can be made to do incredible things. There have been instances in the past wherein companies like Clonade, that were essentially a subsidiary of a Rain cult, claim that they were successfully the first company ever to finally and successfully have created the first human clone called Baby Eve in the year 2002, December 26, 2002 apparently, but there is no substantial evidence for the same. Nothing was heard about this baby since, or has been heard since. When we look at cloning, a lot of other things pop into our head. Specifically, how likely are we to ever worry about the fact that you might actually have to face your own clone, face your own self, like in the movies? Well, the straightforward answer to that would be never. You don't have to worry about that ever, because that is never gonna ever happen. What you need to worry about is more to the likes of cyborgs that you come across in movies, and in movies you also see that the computers take control of your brains and your will, and then you no longer are in control about what you might say or what you might do. That is way more likely than you encountering yourself in the future and having to convince your loved ones as to which one to use the real you. You see, artificial intelligence is the biggest threat that we as a species face, and one that has been ignored for a long, long time. It's still being ignored. The other quotient that we talk about is that human cloning has been banned in numerous countries for all the right reasons. Not enough research exists. We do not know about the abnormalities that can occur if human cloning is done. We do not know of the medical drawbacks. We do not know of the threat that we are going to be causing. We do not know of the diseases that might emerge. And because of this lack of information, we are in no condition whatsoever to sanction human cloning just yet. Maybe sometime in the future, yes, human cloning finds its requirements. And there's a very specific reason as to why it might find its requirement, and that being in order to repopulate an off-world human colony. It would make the most sense in terms of economics, in terms of not worrying about making sure more people are sent from the earth to this off-world colony. People in the colony need not worry about gene selection because they know that they are competent, and cloning would result in competent offspring. It sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie again by wondering if people would actually go to lengths like that to clone hand-picked babies, which are essentially a carbon copy of you or a carbon copy of a very competent person that you would like to duplicate the likes of. The question is, where does it stop? How many of said person can you duplicate before questions are raised? Before the remarks of ethical behavior come into play? Could a super evil genius result in cloning himself up to 100 times? And then what? Of course, those people, those 100 clones, do not share the same personality, but do share a lot of the same traits. You see, a lot needs to be answered in terms of human cloning and where things might go and where things might not. What the future holds is still too muddy in terms to even make a logical and reasonable guess towards. For all we know, the next 5 years might come out with a revelation the likes of which we have never seen before. But with what information is out there today and with the likes of what the research is going towards, it's still a long ways away before you need to worry about human cloning being a real world thing. Up until then, we have a lot of other things to worry about. I'll see you guys in the next one.